Hello, this is Cheo with a special report. We're so glad to have the director of the Student Financial Aid Office with us. How important is student financial aid? It's very important, not only at UNM, but all over the country. And Mr. Malone, Brian Malone is here, and thank you, Brian. We appreciate it. Now, Brian, tell us a little bit about maybe how long you've been here and what your role is in the Student Financial Aid Office.
Sure. As Dr. Torres said, my name is Brian Malone. I'm the director of the Student Financial Aid Office here at UNM. I've been here about 18 years, all in the Student Financial Aid Office, which consists of federal financial aid, student employment, and scholarships.
Wow, that's an important office. I have no idea how much money you go through that office, but it's a lot.
Just shy, it's probably about $280 million a year between federal, state, institutional resources.
$280 million. That's a lot of help students.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian, there's a major change that's going to help our students, and we haven't had changes for a long time as far as deadline. Tell us about this change and how that's going to impact our students in a positive way.
Sure. So the change is coming for the 2017-2018 year. The FAFSA, which stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, is changing its overall cycle. So it's changing at the federal level, and then that'll have ramifications down through UNM. What the overall cycle change is that the FAFSA, which has traditionally been released on January 1st, is coming out October 1st. So as the time we're doing this is this upcoming Saturday. So 3 months earlier, the FAFSA is being released. That in and of itself is great in that the students would have more time to fill out the FAFSA. But the other change is that the information that is being reported tax information-wise, which is essential for the FAFSA, that also is changing. So the way it works now is that it's the year that just ended. So in other words, December 31st, the taxes that end then, January 1st, you start filling out the FAFSA. Well, at that point, you have to scramble, get your taxes done, get your W-2s. It's a very tight deadline at that point. What's going on in the future, or what's coming up now for this upcoming year, is that we'll be able to use taxes that were closed the year prior than that. So in other words, for the 2017-18 year, the one that's opening this Saturday, we're going to be using the 2015 taxes, which means that everyone should have their taxes, generally everyone should have their taxes filled out at that point 5 or 6 months in advance. So instead of scrambling to fill out your taxes, you can go ahead and utilize what's called the IRS data retrieval tool through the FAFSA, which is basically through a couple of buttons, you should be able to import your tax information into the FAFSA. So it's accurate, more accurate than having also translated from a tax form onto the FAFSA, and quick. And at that point too, you're not, like I said, scrambling with 2 federal processes, getting your taxes done and getting the FAFSA done. You can just concentrate at that point on getting the FAFSA completed, pull that information in. So that's on the federal level, so that's very positive. Like I said, it's earlier, more accurate, quicker on that. Like I said, not scrambling. At UNM, what we're also doing is we're also then changing our priority date. So in the past, the priority date was March 1. So in other words, it was between January 1 it got released, March 1 is the priority date. What we're doing now is we're moving up the priority date to January 6th, so right when we come back from the winter break. But what will happen is students have a little over 3 months, so it's actually even a longer window now to meet the priority date, and once again it should be simpler to do. But then with a January 6th, what that allows us to do is we can have students submitting their information, any additional documentation that needs to be submitted by January 31st. That in turn allows us to get awards out earlier to students, continuing and freshmen. So what we're hoping to do is then, with that timeline, is get awards out to students by the middle of February. So by middle of February then, for like an entering freshman, for instance, they can have a little bit more time to say like, oh, okay, this is the reality of what it might cost and the resources I have. And also have a little more time at that point to maybe like, oh, maybe I should get an extra job or do a little extra savings, things along those lines. It also allows students to compare and contrast with other schools that they might be considering, so that they can kind of get more of an apples to apples comparison earlier in the game. So that's, and then at that point, getting information out earlier is just helpful to everyone all around. It also allows more time to plan, allows us to get stuff done. And
so you mentioned that they have more time to plan, and if they need a job on campus, you can help them with that also with work study.
Correct, and also that's one of the things, also another reason to meet that priority date is, that is also to be considered for work study for the upcoming year.
We want to thank you for everything you do for our students. Finances are so important for our students, and you touch their lives on a daily basis, you and your staff, and I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the good news.
Oh,
This is important.
My
Thank you so
pleasure.
much,
Yeah.
Mr. Malone.
excellent. Thank you.